I'm certain by now you've heard the news that Cyberpunk has been delayed again. I know that the times are dark and everything's bleak, and we were looking to Cyberpunk as our one beacon of light, and it feels like that light has just gotten smaller and more distant. But have no fear, there is a savior. There is something out there that brings joy to everyone who sees it. That's right, Belle Delphine is back, baby! That's right, we stand Belle Delphine in this house. Welcome to the Sometimes Serious podcast. I'm your host, Philip Edwards, and as always, I'm joined by Michael Palmer.
Hello.
So, we stand Belle Delphine in this house, and she's back.
I I'm neither agreeing nor disagreeing with that statement.
If you haven't seen her video where she announces that she's back and she announces her new Instagram and her OnlyFans, and go check it out
No,
because it's actually genuinely funny.
okay. I will have to have a look.
Um,
Is it
People
as
ask.
funny as when she said she was going to create an account on a certain website and she did and it was just meme videos?
She brings that up in her
Oh,
announcement
excellent.
video. So
Excellent.
it is funny. Yeah, the reason she was gone for so long, she did answer because everyone was like, why were you gone for so long? What she originally planned to do for her big comeback video was jump into a child's kiddie pool off a roof. She broke her arm and leg.
Okay, that explains the pictures that someone I follow on Twitter posted.
Yeah, so that's why it took so long for her to come back. But now she's back. Let's. I know not everyone will be a fan of Belle Delphine, but everyone is a fan of Cyberpunk. Oh, Cyberpunk.
I'm I'm okay with it.
When I first heard it, I actually, my knee jerk, gut wrenching reaction was, this is really terrible for Cyberpunk because it's seeming a lot like they're stuck in dev hell. Because this thing has just been delayed and delayed and delayed. And then I read their statement of they're only
Yep.
pushing it back like 2 months and the game is actually finished. They just want to work out balancing issues and get rid of all the bugs. And, they said that they were going to actually have certain reviewers, certain independent reviewers play it this week. And then
Yep.
on June 25th, I want to say, when they have their big like info dump, they're then going to show people's impressions of the game. So it seems like it's done. It seems like it's ready. It's just delayed again.
which I am a-okay with for a couple of reasons. I mean, one because I like my games to come out polished and me not have to go, oh, I can see this, I can see that, and all that. But also because I'm using PayPal credit to buy the collector's edition, so I kind of need to pay off enough of it that I can go and buy the collector's edition. So I've got it all booked. I ordered it from Game, PayPal credit, and all of that. And initially, for its original release date before it got pushed to September, I was like, okay, no, this is fine. I can deal with that. And then, when I realised it got pushed back, I did some very silly spending. And then I was like, oh, I've got to pay this off by September, which I have managed to pay off a lot of. And then they pushed it back, and I've gone, oh, I can breathe even more. I can actually finish paying it all off.
It's I I have such high hopes. Please don't be stuck in dev hell because it feels like it's been mired there for quite a while. Please don't be. Please come out and be everything we hope. I'm
I,
I'm scared.
mm, I'm not worried about it being stuck in dev hell, especially after having read that statement. But I am worried that it's not going to live up to the expectations that the hype has set for it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's why I'm trying to go in as blind as possible. As much as I want to look up everything and I want to watch gameplay and I want to hear what they have to say about it, I've been ignoring all of it because I don't. I want to go in blind as low as possible, like expectations set as low as possible, and then just have my mind blown. I'd
Yeah,
I'd rather that than the other way round.
as you know, unless it's something that I particularly want to pay attention to, or you know, m me looking into it is a requirement, then I don't look into games that much. You know, I much prefer to go, okay, excellent, they're making this game. And if it's a continuation in a series, so like, you know, I know they wouldn't, there's no way it would be, but if they suddenly announce that, hey, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming, I don't know, early 2022, then I might go and look into it. I say might. I would go and look into it. I would look into all of the features that they have publicly announced will be in there, etc., etc. But Cyberpunk is one of those games where I don't want to.
Yeah, go in with as lower expectation as possible, and then just have your world destroyed by this amazing, beautiful thing that they've created and Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves can destroy my world anytime.
I that's all we want. Just Keanu, please.
So we want is Keanu in the sometimes serious show bed.
That sounds like we're getting him on the casting couch. So, Keanu, you ever been in a movie before? Yeah, actually, loads. Yeah. Oh, um, well, uh,
You ever been in one of these movies?
okay. What's the big reveal that happens right then as you go? You ever been in one of these movies? Because you're clearly pointing at something. What's the big reveal?
It's going to be a straight to TV movie. It's going to be as bad as like Lavalantula, Sharknado, that sort of thing.
No, I haven't. And why would I? Well, have we got an idea for you? We're planning on doing a Lord of the Rings parody.
I don't
Yeah,
think he'd go for it.
I bet he would. He's such a nice guy, and at the point where he even acknowledges our existence, we must be reasonably big, so we could pay him a huge lump sum of money. Which, you know, let's be honest.
Or it just turns out we're his sort of comedy.
Oh my God, that would be my dream. Imagine bringing joy to the man who brings joy to everyone else. We're meant to be talking about Cyberpunk, and we just
Yeah,
got
we are. We
distracted by
got
Keanu
distracted.
Reeves.
Occupational hazard when you talk about cyberpunk.
Oh, it's just when you talk about anything, he can fit in
Yeah,
anywhere. He's
yeah.
he's just everywhere, and you just not a day goes by where I don't spend at least 2 hours just wistfully looking off into the middle distance, just Keanu. Do you like that I actually included the middle distance in there?
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Middle distance. Yeah, but cyberpunk is it's from all the screenshots that have been publicly released and that I have seen, it does look beautiful. It does sound like it's going to be an amazing game. I'm just hoping that it can live up to that.
My only question is, does Belle Delphine have a role? I'm guessing that's you not wanting Belle Delphine. All right, fine. You just hate women. Now we know.
What? One person I don't want in a game, you're like, that's it. You hate all of that gender.
Well, it's just
No,
it's factual. You just proved it.
no, no, I did not.
You'd rather the rich white man Keanu Reeves gets work rather than the really downtrodden woman Belle Delphine. I can even say that with a straight face. Okay, good news, everybody. By my timer, I know it's going to be a little short, but we're going to go for it anyway. By my timer, we've hit about 10 minutes. Fuck EA. Fuck 'em right in their
Yes.
fucking ass. Fuck you, EA. Let's talk about EA Play Live.
Oh,
Let's start with
let's.
Android fucking Wilson.
Ah, that speech. Ah, we Philip and I were watching it together, because that's what we do, and we were listening to this speech, and I think before Philip said anything, I went, "Oh, I understand why he's called Android now. He does look like one." And immediately afterwards, because Philip's actually been paying more attention to the speech than I was, he goes, "This was written months ago. This was
Yep.
probably recorded months ago." And then the topic of Black Lives Matter popped up, and we were like, okay, now that sounds like they literally just wrote it in and re recorded the entire thing. Because they put so much emphasis on the other
Mm-hmm.
issues beforehand, like the Australian bushfires and all of that, that it was so telling. And I hadn't even thought about it until you'd said it, and I was like, no, that's right. It really did feel that bad.
I'm, I'm wondering if anyone else is just done with companies pushing disingenuous bullshit. Because while we support Black Lives Matter here, and we absolutely support all the frontline workers who are out there saving lives
Yep.
fighting COVID, we absolutely support them. EA, please shut the fuck up. Please. You don't suddenly, like, if you were a racist for the past 30 years and now you've realized racism's bad, you don't get to then sit on a high horse going, yeah, everybody, racism's bad. Well done, you caught the fuck up. Congratulations. We've known about this forever. Human beings are equal, full stop. Except androids. Androids are not equal.
See,
It annoys me so much.
it annoyed me as much as what's his name from Blizzard when they did that. Oh, we're really sorry
J.
for what
Allen
we did.
Brack. Jab.
Thank you, Jab. Yeah. When he was a quote unquote, and I use this next word loosely, apologizing for the way they treated Blitzchung and the two presenters and that. I I was just sat there thinking, well, this is the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard spew from someone's mouth that isn't corporate speak. This is just he. There was no emotion, and this is across both of the aforementioned speeches. There was no emotion, and any emotion that was shown for the wrong reasons. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Jab with his fake tears that he did, it was just like, okay, no, you're doing it just for show. Whereas at one point, when Android was talking about, we want to be where you all come to play games and all of that. That smile on his face was not a smile of, ah, oh, yeah, everyone loves our games. That was a smile of, you mugs, give us more money. It's
The
oh,
android processing finally caught up with his android eyes because you could see him reading the script in front of him, just like a
yeah.
machine, just like boot, boot, just scanning, scanning, and then the processors caught up with what came out of his mouth, and he was like, "Ha ha ha, we have lied." So, yes, Android Wilson, you have.
I think one day someone's going to capture that on film, and that will be the ultimate proof that it really is an android there and not a person.
It felt so much weirder having him just sit there. It was so much more obvious that he's clearly an android wearing a flesh skin, and like when he's walking about back and forth on stage, the camera's wide shot, wide shot, audience shot, close shot, wide shot, and he's constantly walking, moving his hands, so you don't really get to see. But when he's just sat there so robotic, it's like, wow,
You don't
wow.
really get to see the seams in the fake flesh where they've glued it on.
Yeah, I, I bet they had to do several takes where the makeup artist had to come back in and just like patch part of the cheek back down because it just kept flopping off. And it's like, oh, for God's sakes, Android, I am sorry. No, you're not.
You don't even know the meaning of the word.
Sorry is when you steal people's money, correct? No, Android. That's not what sorry means. Anyway,
See, I
go
I
on.
was going to say it's the last thing I'll say about the whole speeches thing is the only thing we can take away from the fact that, despite the fact it was written and originally recorded months ago and then updated for current affairs, is that at least they said something, unlike a certain company with a large PC storefront.
The thing is, though, put your money where your goddamn mouth is, and I don't just mean like the oh, here's 250 grand. Xbox has been consistently uh like broadcasting what is it? Black, indigenous people of color's voices, like people who work at the company,
Yeah,
for the past like month or so. They've constantly had them come and make statements for them, and then they post it out on Twitter. And then Phil Spencer retweets it, Xbox retweets it, Microsoft retweets it. They're standing by their people. It's not just a disingenuous, here's some money, shut up, we're good guys, right? Haha. No, they've gone, here are the people on the ground, the people
yeah,
who actually know what the struggles
they've
are.
taken
Here's what their
actions
thoughts
rather
are.
than thrown money at the problem.
Yeah, and Microsoft did throw money at it as well, but there's just throwing money at it is not just, it's so disingenuous. It's so just, all right, we're good guys. You're not. You're not EA. Fuck off.
EA will never be the good guys ever again,
Oh my god, this whole thing
regardless
was
of
them trying
state.
so hard. Let's move on. Apex. You're probably more qualified to talk about the Apex event.
Okay, there's not really too much that I can say. I mean, it's nice to have another addition to the map, I think. I mean, personally, I kind of like the fact that there was only one character's area per map, because there's only two maps. But it's nice to see more about the characters in the game, so it'll be nice to go there and see what's what. I honestly expected Mirage's heirloom to be something else, but when I think about it now, actually, I don't know what else it could have been. It just fits his personality. And as for the event, and they say collect through challenges, we've had a couple of these before where it's all challenge based, and it'll be like daily challenges that you complete to earn points towards this rank, etc. It's it is what it is. I love playing Apex. You know that. You see me on it almost every
Hmm.
day, but it's I don't know, they don't feel as rewarding as they should, these event ones that they do, where it's all challenges rather than the stupidly expensive loot boxes and guaranteed heirloom, which I can almost guarantee it will also feature. I can almost guarantee that because we've got a new character with an heirloom item now, because we started off with Wraith, and I can't remember what order they came out in, but we've also got Bloodhound, Lifeline, Pathfinder, and Octane who have heirlooms. I've got Octane's one. And now we've got Mirage. So I can almost guarantee that they're going to do what they did with Bloodhound and Octane and have an heirloom event where, once you've collected all of these aesthetics that are there, and I think there's like 20 of them, then you can have the heirloom and you won't need to worry about getting heirloom shards, which is fine. But to buy the special Apex loot boxes that guarantee at least one item from that list of 20, instead of it being 100 Apex coins, it's like 700.
Oof.
Yeah. So, I mean, what, about 1,000 Apex coins is £8.
That's a
So you're
big
looking,
oof.
yeah, you're looking at £8 a loot box, which is why the last time the event popped up for Octanes, I just spent all of my crafting materials and bought 2 boxes because I just looked at it and went, well, I'm going to need coins to get the next battle pass. So I just bought a job lot of coins, bought 2 boxes, and saved the rest. I was like, because otherwise there's no way I would have spent money on it. Literally wouldn't. If I'd only had, say, I don't know, 1,000 crafting materials, because to craft them using crafting materials is super expensive. If I'd only had 1,000, I would have just looked at it and gone, well, guess I'm not getting the heirloom item, because there's no way I would have spent that much money on it.
It's a classic psychological tricks, artificial scarcity, which bumps up the value because suddenly there's a timer on it. Suddenly you have to get it now.
But the thing is, it will be available via heirloom shards anyway. It's just they're super, super rare drops. They're not even listed. You know how everywhere has to have their percentages listed now. Microsoft pushed for that, so all the loot boxes are like, oh, you've got this % chance of getting this grade or better, and the average loot box has like a 7.4% chance of a legendary. Heirlooms are rarer than that, and they're not even listed because you don't get the heirloom; you get heirloom shards.
If memory serves, it's optional. Microsoft and a bunch of other companies came out saying that they would,
Okay.
in their own games, do it. But
Okay. I
it
thought
is
they were
optional. They
pushing
could
it
just
across
say
everything.
no.
Okay. But either
What are
way,
your thoughts on crossplay?
absolutely horrendous. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to play with people on PlayStation. I want to play with people on Switch. That's fine. Similar controls. It's fine. However, what you can't do on console without technically on Xbox breaking the terms of service, and technically on PlayStation not, is you can't do the same flick shot motions that a lot of popular PC Apex players do, purely because that's not how thumbsticks work.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're flicking with their wrists, not their thumbs. You cannot do it to the same level on a controller as you can on a mouse. And that is going to give PC players a massive edge.
There's something I've already seen, because something that normally evens the gap a bit is console users have aim assist. We always do. It's just built in for console users, just because it's definitive. It is factual that it is harder to aim on a controller than it is with a mouse and keyboard.
Yep.
A running theme that has happened quite regularly, and it's already being pushed for, is when crossplay comes in, they'll disable the aim assist.
Okay. But that in itself is horrendous. And the reason being, if I plug a controller into my laptop and play Apex, I've got aim assist.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of PC users are pushing for it, and it has happened previously where a lot of high tier PC games, and they go, you've got to get rid of aim assist, and the company will do it. So I think there's a chance that aim assist will be gotten rid of. And I think that will just increase the gap between the PC and the console users, and I think that's unfair.
Well, not only that, I think we'll start to see a massive player base drop off. Because the only reason they're going to be pushing for crossplay, other than a bunch of people screaming for it, because I have seen on Twitter people going, "Oh, enable crossplay." I've got friends that only play on, say, PC or only play on console. I can't play with them because I don't have that platform to play on. And I'm sort of sat here going, okay, but they don't need to put PC against console. There are loads of players on PC. The amount of time at sort of like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning that it takes me to find a match on console compared to how long it takes me to find a match on PC at the same time of the morning is ridiculous. On PC, it's almost instant. On console, I've been sat there for 5 minutes in a queue of 40 odd people just waiting for the extra to top up the lobby.
I would be curious to know what the player base numbers are. That they'll never release it or announce it, but the player base numbers are on each console, because well, each platform, because I have a feeling the consoles are a lot less than PC, which means
Yes.
console users are just getting swamped. You're just
Yeah.
going to get swamped by a deluge of PC players.
Yeah, we are. The player base on console is going to be less. I think if you're looking at it console per console, I think PlayStation has the numbers over Xbox for players, but I cannot confirm that. I don't have Apex on the PlayStation, despite the fact that it's free, and I don't normally play PlayStation anyway. But I do think that PlayStation has the edge on the numbers, just purely from the amount of YouTubers I've seen that play Apex that play it on PlayStation.
Moving on from Apex, that I don't know why they brought it up, but because they brought it up, we're going to bring it up. The Sims, they just had again what I felt to be very pandering and scripted. And I'm going to quickly rewind. The Sims, uh, one of the community managers for The Sims came up and spoke about, racial diversity and how The Sims helps people cope with things that are going on in their lives. And the way she was wording it made it seem, unless you were paying attention, made it seem like she was about to introduce members from the team, like people that worked on The Sims who loved The Sims and were LGBT or black or, you know, people that this game helped who then went on to work for The Sims. But it wasn't, it was just community members. So it was just random players of The Sims, which kind of like cool. So you didn't have anyone in the team to do Roger that. Get it? And I I don't know if you felt it. I'm not sure if it's just me being an asshole because The Sims and EA, so I was already in a bad mood. It felt it felt like it was scripted. It felt like they were reading off a script. It wasn't them talking about things that had happened to them or them being like, this is what actually happened. This is what really happened. It felt very much like they had been paid a bunch of money to say nice things about EA.
I mean, there's always the possibility that it wasn't scripted. There's always the possibility that they did speak up in some sort of Sims discussion area and were, you know, gotten in touch by EA and the Sims people and just like, hey, yeah, we'd love for you to talk about your experiences with the game and, how much you love it, etc. There's always the chance. However, yeah, it did feel scripted, and I'm all for I'm all for inclusion, but inclusion doesn't mean that you need to what's the word? Group people. You don't need to separate people into different groups. We've always maintained that gaming is one of those things that brings people together, regardless of your age, race, gender, abilities, or lack thereof. We don't mind what you can or can't do, or who or what you are. For us, it's always been a case of, hey, you like this game, I like this game, why don't we play it together? Or,
Yep.
oh, you love that game, I've not tried it, what's it like? Because that's what gaming is. You talk more about the game than who you are as a person playing it. And that's not to say, don't get to know people, because you know, there's some weird and wonderful people out there. I've made friends with some people on like Destiny and games like that. People who I've got differing, say, political opinions with, but that doesn't make me like them any less. It doesn't make me lose respect for them. It
Hmm.
just means, okay, we don't talk about politics. We talk about the game we're playing.
Yep. Video games, the great equalizer, because the vast majority of players just do not give a shit who you are as a person. It's all right. Let's play video games. I do want to real quick go back. You said so that's the game you love, but I've never played it, so tell me about it. Okay, well, Monster Hunter is the greatest game ever made, and I love that game so much, and it's a landmark in video games, and
See, but I have played that game. I know how great it is.
Okay, well, for everyone else, Monster Hunter is one of the greatest video games ever made, and
You
the
you can't trust his opinion on how hard the monsters are, though, since he uses a certain weapon that does not exactly give credibility to everyone else that
excuse me,
uses the
longsword,
weapon.
best sword.
Yeah, but how many longsword users have you met that don't live up to longsword best sword?
Okay, so The Sims, they also announced is coming to Steam, which was a running theme they had throughout the show, constantly going, oh, and it's coming to Steam as well, which is just, in case you didn't know, they have pretty much given up with their own platform and they're going to Steam because obviously, why wouldn't you? And they're going to bring EA access to Steam, which is a very sensible move, and it's just their way of making more money. So I don't think it's I don't think it was relevant for them to constantly throughout the show going, and it's coming to Steam.
Yeah,
And
I think.
you know what else is coming to Steam?
Go
And
on.
you're gonna love this one. Oh, Command and Conquer Remastered.
I knew that's where you were going with that. I I feel like in regards to Steam, they could have just opened up the show saying everything you're going to hear about today will be coming to Steam and maybe give a little explanation for it and leave it at that. But as for Command and Conquer Remastered, it didn't really look that much better. I'm in
It
complete
didn't look like a
agreement with what you said.
remaster.
Yeah, but I also have to question. They released before Command and Conquer 4 happened, before that abomination happened. Command and Conquer: The First Decade was released. That was first Command and Conquer all the way up to and including Generals and its expansion Zero Hour. Now, why didn't they just remaster that entire thing, but actually remaster it?
Because they want to cheap
Because
cash in. That's honestly what this feels like. Just very low effort, bang, cashed in,
yeah, but
easy money.
that's only been in response to their mobile game.
Yeah, because that fucking sucked balls. But the thing is that they hadn't released Command and Conquer for so long, and then they were like, "Look, a new Command and Conquer on mobile filled with microtransactions." Oh, why don't you like it? Because you guys
Yeah,
are assholes. That's not what we wanted.
but then the thing is, I think it was pretty much universally hated was Command and Conquer 4. You remember playing Command and Conquer 3 and all of that with me on the
Mm-hmm.
360, yeah. Now, that's all, we loved that. We loved playing that. And Command and Conquer 4 got rid of so much of what made Command and Conquer great. Instead of building a base and all of that, it was, hey, so that base is now mobile and you don't build buildings to build units, and you've got three different types that you can play as. So the ground units can't build air units, but the air units can't build ground units. And then you've got infantry focused ones, and then you've got tank focused ones, and then you've got defense building focused one. It was horrendous. And it was a 4v4, if I remember rightly.
I'm not sure when it happened, but I know they killed the studio because this is EA. Of course they did. I know the studio that used to make like the Command and Conquer's games got nom 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 nom. So I'm not certain, but that could have been before, or it could have been. It was either before, which explains why the game was shit,
Who
or
was it?
they were trying to innovate because EA was going to eat them anyway. So
Was it Westwood?
I think so.
Yeah, it was before 4 then I think that they ate the studio.
So there you go. It's a new
Um
studio who did it.
yeah, I know, but that's the thing. You still have the rest of the franchise to look back on and go, so that's what made it great. Let's not fuck with that.
But this is our own take on Dante, and we feel he'd be much edgier and not have the white hair and red jacket.
Yeah,
We
and
feel
look
he'd
how
be more.
that turned out.
Exactly. It doesn't work. Stop it.
Yeah, but again, they're like you say, yeah, it does feel like yes, a quick cash in, and I don't like it. I don't.
It looks ugly.
it looks old, not ugly. It looks
Yes,
old.
yes. Okay, I'll agree with that one. The next thing. Oh, I've got so much to fucking rant and rave about. EA Originals. Now, I'm wondering why they animated the like EA Originals trailer. And I'm pretty confident I know why. I'm pretty confident they got several ribs removed and bent down and just what.
Ah, I see. I was laughing because I was thinking to myself. I mean, the really cruel statement would be, do you reckon it was because anyone that wanted to actually do it had a face for radio? But that's a personal attack, and that's not good.
Yeah, and we saw them later on in the video anyway.
I
Uh,
have to say, what's his name from the studio that made A Way Out? Can't remember his
we're
name.
we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him.
Okay. I'll wait.
We're
I'll wait. I'll save it.
I just wanted to cover why the fuck did they animate it? I think it was because they were sucking their own dick, and they're really desperately trying to push because there was like a year ago, 2 years ago, there was someone who ran the EA Originals program who came out saying, "Well, I don't view EA as the bad guy because we do all of this amazing stuff with all these independent creators. I really have a hard time seeing ourselves as the villain." Tough fucking shit. So they're desperately trying to shake that. They're desperately trying to push the no, no, no. The EA that does FIFA, that's not EA anymore. The EA that does EA Originals, that's EA. Friendly, loving EA. Look how quirky we are with this animation.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Hazelight and the game they're making, It Takes Two. And yes, as you referenced, they did a whole fucking intro video on Joseph Fares.
That's it. And I have to say, while I like his energy, I never thought I'd say that sentence. While I like his energy, I don't like his personality that much. And that is just a personal thing. But
Do you need me to
every
get your
time he.
crystals? Because you're liking his energy, his aura.
No,
You need me to get your
no.
crystals.
But I, like I say, he has the right enthusiasm for it. I just don't like how much of a dick he appears to be.
Yeah. I I don't understand why. I understand he went through hardships. I understand he had a difficult life and he's become something great and he directs movies and he makes video games. Why did they do the video on him like, "Oh, he left wherever it was and moved to Sweden." I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. I'm not invested in you in any way, shape, or form. I don't care.
See, I feel like those sort of biography type things should be done outside of showcases, and they should be for sort of like meet the team sections, maybe on an
Hmm.
overall EA website or something like that, because that the people that would read that section are the people that are interested in the people behind the games. And it's not to say we're not interested in those people, it's just we're not that level of interested. If say one of the frontline developers in, I don't know, Respawn decided to come out and was talking about all this stuff, yeah, we'd give it a read or listen, depending how it was formatted. And yeah, we'd go, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Oh, cool. So we know this about this person, but we wouldn't necessarily go out of our way to actually say meet and get to know them. And I know that he was trying to do it as a sort of jump point to lead into the whole, oh yes, making games is harder than making a film, and so we've done this and that, and it just didn't work. It seemed way more smoke up his own arse than anything
Hmm.
else.
I think it was what didn't help him is the fact that they showed him as, an arrogant ass, and then were like, haha, yeah. I I definitely agree with where you're coming from. I read or listen to or watch anything about inside the gaming industry. If someone comes out and gives insider knowledge of what they dealt with at, oh, I worked for Naughty Dog for this many years and this is how it was, bang, you have my attention 100%. I really don't care about a guy who's like, I made these video games, which is perfect jumping point too. So his team, Hazelight, were the ones who made Brothers: A Tale of Two Souls, I think it's
Hmm.
called. Then A
Yep.
Way Out, and they're
Which
making
is a
It
great
Takes
game.
Two. Now,
Yeah.
the reason I bring up those three games is, as we were discussing yesterday, he in his video said some studios out there are making games that have good stories, but they're pretty much one mechanic. They reuse all the time. That was a quote. And my note after I wrote down that quote literally just says, "That's all you fucking do, you penis." His three games that he's
Yes.
made, he later on in the interview went to say that he founded Hazelight to keep pushing the boundaries in the gaming industry, and that's what game number three is all about. It's a co-op action adventure platformer. You mean exactly like Brothers: A Tale of Two Souls and A Way Out. You've made the same
Yep.
game three times but in a different style. I'm not fucking impressed. I'm not impressed at all. Stop talking, you arse.
Yeah. I kind of think if you're gonna say that you're pushing boundaries, actually push boundaries not just in the industry, but in your own company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much as I moan about, say, Bethesda for, absolutely ruining some games, but actually for just, being themselves, I guess. I I am glad that when they said, "Oh, we've got other IPs we want to work on and all of that," that's fine. Do it. The problem is they've made the same game but in different franchises for how
Mm-hmm.
long?
Brother Tale Two Souls. Start this generation, I think. So I'm gonna say 6, 7 years,
Yeah, and then think how
maybe
long
longer.
Bethesda's been doing it. Because Bethesda, look at the Elder Scrolls, how old's that? And then okay, they're not the original creators behind Fallout, but they picked it up and turned it into the same thing.
Yes, 20 odd years for Bethesda now. Getting close to
Yeah.
that.
So again, it's just another company. It's like, okay, yeah, push the boundaries technologically. Do. That's
They're
how we
not
get
doing that
growth.
though.
No, 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 no. But push the boundaries with technology because that's how we get growth. Push the boundaries in the industry to make the industry better, but also push your own boundaries so that you're not making the same game over and over again.
Don't fucking come onto your show going, oh, look how awesome I am. We're making this really innovative game that no one's ever experienced before. No one else is making a game like this. It's a co-op action adventure platformer, just like our other two games. You d- shut the. It really annoyed me the bullshit that just spewed out of him. Let's move on to something I actually did enjoy,
Oh,
although there are caveats to it. Zoink Games are making a game called
which one was
Lost
this one?
in Random. Now,
Yes,
I adore that art style. It looked very Nightmare at Christmas.
Tim Burton.
I am in love with it. Amazing. Yes. To be fair, this is all we can really talk about is the art style because that's all they really show. It's so far off from release, but it looks so good. It looks like it. Oh my God! It looks like it's going to be fantastic. Now the
Yep.
caveat to it is it's not very original because Tim Burton exists and has existed for how many years. And also, I'm going to shoot myself because they called the world that the city you're in is called Random. The character you play as is called Even, not Evie, Even, and the dice is called Dicey.
Yeah, I have to say, the moment I heard the names when they were doing their little bit, did almost immediately put me off, just because it felt like they were sat there in a room, you know, throwing these ideas around, trying to get to somewhere, and they just got bored and went, ah, yeah, we'll call it random. That'll do. It'll be fine.
Yeah, like the amount of times where we've been sitting and discussing show ideas for the Sometimes Serious Show, and we have multiple passes at the same idea. You don't just go first idea, bang, because the first idea is never the right one. Almost never is it the right one. So it's always iterations on that idea. And I'm not going to tell the story of how we actually came up with the name for the show, but initially it was going to be the Three E Boys. Imagine if
And
we'd gone with that. That would have been infinitely worse. And this
no,
was exactly that. They were like, uh, what do we want to call the dice? And some intern went, dicey, ha ha ha. And they went, yeah, that's good enough. Come back with a second pass at it. Come back and think and go, come on, we can come up with a better name than dicey. Surely.
yeah.
Like, give me 30 seconds, I'll come up with a better name for a dice. I'm just bantering ideas in my head here. Um instead of Cuba Gooding Jr., let's call him Cube Gooding Jr. because he's a dice.
Okay, yeah. See, that works already. That works, and that was
That's more creative. And then you could get Cuba Gooding Jr. to voice the dice.
yeah.
Cube Gooding Jr. And like maybe we could change Gooding because the
Rolling,
world of random. So we could come up with another name for him. That's
rolling.
instead of
It's what dice do. You roll dice.
so Cube Rolling Jr.
Yeah,
That's more creative than dicey.
and that was what all of about a minute, and we came up with something that is actually
Yeah,
better.
give us
It's
give us a couple
objectively
of
more
days.
creative.
You know what? On the Sunday show, I'm going to put in some effort and I'm going to come up with a better character name than Even, and I'm going to come up with a better name than Dicey. Just just to prove how easy it is that you can be that creative. You just got to take a couple of passes at it. You don't have to sit there and put too much energy into it. Just don't go with the first one. Dicey. Go away, please.
See, the thing is that they've made all of the names very child friendly, and I know that the art style isn't not child friendly, but at the same time, it just doesn't fit.
No.
I mean, look at Nightmare Before Christmas. They, you know, the what was it? The town of Halloween, wasn't it? And
This is Halloween. This is
yeah,
Halloween.
and the main character's name is Jack Skellington. I mean,
At least
he
that's
has a
creative, though.
name. Yeah, he has a name though. It's not just like Even, because I can almost guarantee you that one of the antagonists in the game is going to be called Odd.
Or they're gonna try and keep calling her odd because the whole thing was that she wants to embrace the random. Like random, like being random is frowned upon, and she wants to embrace being random, and she wants to take the chances in life and see what the dice lands on. Which I also kind of think this game is just trying to push gambling. It's got very gambling themes of just roll the dice. It could change your life. Why not take the risk? Like that, they actually said that in them speaking. That they were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
well, why not just roll the dice and see where it lands? Just take the risk." And they would try. I feel like this is a really bad thing for EA to be getting into, right on the precipice of them being sued for pushing gambling to children. But whatever. I
unless
forgot
it's
my
all a big
tangent
in
now because
joke.
I was so focused on fuck EA.
Here at the Sometimes Serious Show, we'd just like to say fuck you, EA.
Yeah, let's wrap up talking about Lost in Random by saying fuck you, EA, and talk about Rocket Arena. And I'm going to start that by saying fuck you, EA. This,
I will second that statement.
this honestly, I don't know how to properly convey my disgust at what EA is attempting here. It's an arena shooter, but it's also a hero shooter. It's hopelessly late. It's like you missed the boat by about 10 years, buds. You missed it by about 10 years. And what I put in my notes is a desperate attempt to cash in and create a competitive live service that they can milk for the next 10 years. Because that's all
Yeah,
it feels. It feels just so
but
bland and so just cash in that you know they're going to try and push an esport. You know they're desperate to have something like the Call of Duty League or the Overwatch League, and their version is going to be Rocket Arena.
they're going to be RAL, Rocket Arena League.
Oh my God, why?
I,
It
I,
just looks
I,
so generic.
I honestly would like to say that when we were watching this, I kept calling out names of characters from other franchises because, you know, some of them really did look like they played the same. They may not have looked the same, but they definitely played the same. And that's bad. It shows no originality. In fact, the entire game shows no originality, actually. Remembering our conversation from when we were watching it, what was it? Was it Quake, you said? Was on
Yeah,
rocket mode?
yeah. Quake actually had a mode called Rocket Arena. So
Yeah. I think
uh,
that just sums it up, actually.
I'm not certain, but from the way they were talking and the way it looked, you don't kill people with the rockets. Your goal is to boop them out of the map with the rockets.
Yeah, but
So
then they
like
said, "Oh,
Smash
but you
Bros.
immediately fly back in."
Yeah, like Smash Bros. So I honestly think that they looked at what was popular and they were like, okay, so what are the big games? Let's just spitball an idea to create a competitive esport live service that we can milk forever. What's popular? Okay, Overwatch is popular. Okay, Quake is still popular, so Quake. Smash Bros is really popular. So we're gonna have
Yeah,
to make it like super competitive as well because CS:GO is super popular. So how about we combine all? Oh, Rocket Arena, here it is. You. Oh my
yeah,
God, you generic pieces of shit. That the other thing that annoyed me is they said that they're gonna have 10 heroes at launch. They're launching on July 14th. 2 weeks after launch, on July 28th, is the start of their first season, including their Battle Pass, which they so originally called the Blast Pass.
yeah,
They're also going to be adding, 2 weeks after launch, they're going to be adding a new hero and new maps. So they're deliberately holding back content. That's content. Like 2 weeks after launch, there's no way you made a brand new character and new maps 2 weeks after launch. There's no way because you already know that you've got that character and maps. That's why you're announcing it now. So
yep.
they're deliberately holding that content back. I'm. Oh my God,
I would
no.
like to point out that they also borrowed another, or seemingly borrowed by what they said rather than what they showed, another mechanic from games like League of Legends and Smite and stuff like that. Because they said there are items that will affect the build of your character.
Yep. I'm glad it's not just me. When he was talking about Oh, each character has 100 levels of progression, and you can unlock all of these cosmetics for them. And they showed each character, like they showed a character in a silver
Yeah,
skin and a
bronze,
gold skin.
silver, and gold.
Knee jerk, my brain went Smite because
Yeah,
that's pretty much exactly what Smite does.
yep.
So you literally just went, okay, let's copy the progression of Smite, the characters of Overwatch, the gameplay of Quake, well, the game mechanics of Quake because we want it to be a arena shooter, and we want the death mechanic of Smash, and I think that makes us good. Oh, we want a competitive scene like CS:GO. We want it to be a real Twitch shooter and like bang, bang, bang. Yeah, oh wow, people are gonna watch this on Twitch. Oh yeah. Please take a very long walk off a very short bridge into a big pool of fuck you.
I'd I'd like to point out to our viewers that while we watch these shows together, while Philip and I watch these shows together, one or both of us will make occasional comments on things, but when we do, the other one generally responds with, "Don't worry, we'll save it for the podcast," purely because we want to have that words are failing me again
Genuine.
today. Yeah, thank you.
I got you.
That genuine reaction. So I hadn't heard that very very long walk off a very short bridge into a large pool of fuck you. And that made me chuckle. Because if we said things like that, you wouldn't get that reaction. And I love it. I love it.
And the last thing I'm going to say about that game, it has to be free to play. That
I
game will die if it's not free to play.
I reckon that if hmm, I reckon
It
they
will
will make it
absolutely
free
die.
to play because I reckon they'll know that it'll die if it doesn't go free to play from the word go. But I'm I'm thinking that there's a high chance that it's not going to be free to play to begin with, and they'll very quickly make it free to play.
A month or two in after it's completely dead, and then they go, "Oh shit!"
No, sort of
Yeah,
like 2 weeks. I reckon for the first 2 weeks it'll be buy it, and in the moment that their season starts, it'll suddenly be free to play. That's what I'm
I,
thinking.
I love video games, and I want everyone to enjoy video games. And it's very rare that I feel the way I'm feeling about this one. I want it to fail. I want it to fall straight on its arse. I don't want anyone to play it. There are better games out there. Do not touch that piece of shit. Let's
Let's move on.
let's move off that one. The next one they announced that they tried to a bit of rewriting history with Star Wars Squadrons, where Greg said, "Oh, EA and Lucasfilm dropped a trailer early this week." No, no, you don't get to rewrite history. The game was leaked. The existence of the game was leaked, and then EA had to quickly put out a trailer that they were going to save because they were desperate to do damage control. They were desperate to recapture the narrative and not let people assume things that weren't true. Because people would be going, oh, so there's going to be microtransactions, there's going to be loot boxes. They wanted to quickly capture it. But you then don't get to go back and rewrite history and go, yeah, we decided to drop the trailer for you. No, you didn't. You had your hand forced. Get real.
It does amuse me when things like that happen. Certain leaks will happen, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, it's quote unquote officially dropped.
Mm-hmm. They're just desperate to try and do damage control, stop other people. No, 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 no. Dude, look at this. It's here. It's shiny, right? It looks this good. Ah, buy, please buy it. Ah. It doesn't work. What can we say about it? Well, I suppose we should give you a brief rundown of what the game is. It's a 5v5 space battle shooter. You play in the various ships, and it's a 5v5 squadron-based competitive shooter, which is it's weird because
Yeah.
they seem to be very heavily leaning into you can customize your ship, you can customize your loadout. There are different ship classes, so there's a healer class, there's a like a tank class, there's a damage class. It it almost feels like they're trying to do a hero shooter, but with spaceships.
I will
Doesn't
quickly say before I forget that loadout screen that they showed during it looked an absolute mess.
it did that they did say, I'll give them credit here if this is truthful, but please take like go to somewhere that has an incredibly large salt mine and order the biggest piece of salt you can. They said there would be no microtransactions or loot boxes. None.
Yeah, I. Funnily enough, I don't believe them.
I do. I just thought of it. It just hit me. There will not be a single microtransaction. It will be chocked full of recurrent user spending though.
Ah, let me guess, it'll also be chock full of surprise mechanics.
Yeah. You like how just this is a real quick aside to a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. You like how when EA talks to us, they say loot boxes because they said there won't be any loot boxes or microtransactions.
Yep.
Not there won't be any surprise mechanics. Why? Because you know that shit won't fly with us. Hmm. Um. Yeah. The whole loadout and different class types makes me feel like it's going to be super competitive, and it's not really going to be any fun for anyone who just wants to just have fun and just relax and play and
Well,
shoot
well,
shit.
they said they had another game mode, didn't they? They talking about an objective-based one where you could play with AI if you so wished, or you could take it online.
Yes.
And I feel like that's going to be the superior game mode. Speaking as someone who's terrible at flying in games, so my opinion here is biased, but I feel like that is going to be the more popular game mode, and I reckon it is just going to be because there is objectives to it. There are objectives to it, sorry, and the fact that you can just do it with AI. So if you keep
Yeah.
getting wrecked in online, you can just go, do you know what? I like the mechanics. I'm just going to play against AI. And that doesn't make for a good game in today's gaming age. I mean, it was all right back on the PS2 when you had to have that attachment to be able to play online, and most people didn't bother getting it. And so, playing the original Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2, unless you were at a LAN party, hey, playing against AI was fun because, that's what you had. Now, that's what campaigns are for. It's, mm,
Which
kind of gonna sort of
real
kill and
quick,
sustain it.
they did say they're going to have a campaign where you play as both the Rebel and the Empire. Just to let everyone know they have said they've
Yeah,
got a
but
campaign, but the
I
campaign
can't
is
imagine it's
definitely
gonna be
the
any good.
training. Like
Yeah,
the way they're talking about it, the campaign is definitely the training for the multiplayer. I did put in my notes, and I did say when we were watching it, in all of the modes, they have to have AI ships flying around. They just have to because that's the only way those space battles will feel big and epic.
yeah,
Is if
yeah,
you can fly around and just murder a bunch of like AI controlled TIE fighters so you feel like you're still doing something. So you're like, yeah, yeah. And then the boss battle is against another player.
yeah.
That has to be the case. I think it would be awful if it's not.
I do, however, feel like that most of unless they were to force the squadron to have one of each ship, I feel like the support ships aren't going to get any love because why would you? They're not going to be powerful in a dogfight. They're going to have to constantly hide, as I say, hide behind one of the damaging damage output ships like the just standard uh, X-wing or TIE fighters, or they're going to have to sit with the bomber class because that's going to be a necessity to keep them stocked up.
Hmm.
But the support ships aren't going to be able to hold their own in anything. They're not going to be used because people aren't going to be interested in keeping everyone else stocked up. They're going to be more interested in trying to pull off all the fancy work and, do silly maneuvers or completely bamboozle people by dropping a bloody bomb behind them or something. They're going to want to be the person that montage clips are made of, not, you know, that person that went, here's some ammo. Woo!
Well, that's the case with all like competitive shooters. Is there is a very small section that like doing healing. Me, hello. Um, and I get it. I don't think I'll be playing as a healer in that. I can't imagine doing it. And I heal in every game I play, but I cannot imagine doing it in that. I think it will just be awful, 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 awful.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
I've got a little musing for everyone.
just agreement. I say it as it is going to be awful. I can't imagine it's going to even feel like you're doing anything when you're healing them. It's going to be such an automatic and such an underwhelming animation that
Hmm.
it's going to be okay. So congrats, you were the person in the entire game that healed the most because you're the only person that was actually mad enough to pick the healer. That's, doesn't make for good gameplay.
My little musing for everyone that I hope they I hope they can figure out. So the people making this game are Motive. Motive made the story mode for Battlefront 2. Criterion made the space mode for Battlefront 2. Why didn't they get Criterion? Because Criterion already has expertise. Criterion already made your space mode, and they made the flying of the ships. And by all regards, the actual, the star battles were actually the best part of Battlefront 2 when it launched. So why didn't you get them on it?
Oh, we know what Criterion have been doing, don't we?
What, working on racing games?
Yeah, working on re-releases of Burnout Paradise yet again.
Split the team. Come on, you can do that.
It's not even the
What?
best Burnout game, and they keep re-releasing it, and then they couldn't be bothered to get Criterion to go, do you know what? Make the flying pot. Make this game for us, please.
No, it is the best Burnout game because they've released it so many times. They wouldn't have released it so many times if it wasn't the best one.
No, it
God,
is
clearly.
the worst one in my opinion.
I I will say about it, I don't reckon you should risk getting this at full price. I reckon you should wait for it. It's coming out, what is it, October 10th, I think they said.
Yeah,
October
something like that.
2nd. Um, I I will actually be tempted to get EA access for a month to play it. I think then it's worth it. I think get EA access for a month, play it, see if you like it. Do not risk full price. And strange enough, the last thing I had in my notes for Star Wars Squadron was I really hope it's good.
It would be nice if it were good. It'd be nice to have a decent dogfighting game, you know. I think I can't even remember the title of the game. I just remember um, years ago playing on someone else's PSP some game that was aerial combat, and I enjoyed it. It was great, but they seem to be few and far between. So hopefully it is good, but I won't be picking it up at all, and I won't be buying EA access to try it. I will
I
wait until you
I
give your
will. I'll let you know.
verdict. Yeah.
Um, the next thing they brought up, and this is going to be a real quick one because I'm literally just going to read my notes, like the note I took. I'm going to read it verbatim, and then we'll move on. The next thing they showed was EA Sports, and my note in verbatim is, Who fucking cares?
I, I would like to say that they always over epicify the trailers for them. I get that sports is a big thing for a lot of people. I'm not a sporty person myself. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch a bit of the Olympics. I'll always watch Wimbledon when it's on. But I am not a sporty person by nature. So I never I never used to understand why everyone was so enthusiastic about it until I started playing games and then sort of understood. But the way they make the trailers out to be so epic doesn't fit.
This one's so amazing. You feel like you're actually on the pitch. I mean, all we did was change the roster and maybe give it a new coat of paint if you're very lucky. But this time it feels different, you know? Oh, you can hear the crowd, 40,000 people chanting your song, even though it's just a soundtrack. Oh my God, you can really feel it. It's like you're there. Who fucking cares? Moving on. The second to last thing they brought up was they brought out like she was a head of something, a community manager or something. And she basically spent some time saying that she really appreciates that all of we, the fans, keep giving them feedback and keep talking to them and, keep letting them know what's wrong and what's right. The only thing I took note of here, which really, well, two things I took note of. She called the artists electronic artists. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. My
Yeah,
note literally reads electronic artists, then in brackets, shut the fuck up. Just call them artists. They're artists. It's got nothing to do with you. They're talented in their own right. You
yeah.
hired talented people. That's it. You don't get to take credit for that. It's their work, their credit. Shut the fuck up.
Just in case you couldn't tell by now, we really don't like EA here.
I was really expecting this to be way more chill because I don't really have any strong animosity towards them, or at least I thought I didn't. And then watching it, I'm just like, ugh, ugh, please shut the hell up. Something everyone will be talking about, and you'll probably hear it, and everyone will go, "Oh my God, did you see?" So we'll bring it up just because they showed very, 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 very early technical showcase of some of the technology they're building, and a few of the shots they showed were of a game that we presume will be Dragon Age 4. I'm pretty sure it'll be Dragon Age 4. It looked very Dragon Age 4, but that's all it is a incredibly early technical showcase. It doesn't like if you hear people going, "Oh my God, so Dragon Age 4's been confirmed." It was confirmed years ago. Of course, they're still working on it. This is nothing new. This is just some very early technical stuff. Did you believe when any company goes out and goes, "We made a new engine. Look how pretty it is. This is what your games are going to look like"? No, they won't.
No,
No,
that's
they
the
won't.
best they can look under certain circumstances.
Yeah, under the very best circumstance, where they had their best hardware render one picture of a person and some lighting. That's it. Not you running through there casting spells with your party casting spells whilst someone's sprouting dialogue and you spinning the camera 60 times a second because you're an idiot and holding right on the stick, just like wee.
Sounds like most of the people I play competitive games with.
Exactly, but that puts a massive load on the system because it has to like the way games work is that stuff that you're not looking at tends to either not be there or be less rendered. A good game will have it less rendered, so it only renders what's on your screen. And then as you start the turn movement, they have a little buffer zone and they render in the buffer zone so that, as you turn and look, it looks good. But the stuff you were looking at is no longer rendered as well because it saves on performance. But if you spin it 60 times a second, just spinning around, it puts a huge load on the
I,
system.
I I can actually give a decent example of when an engine shows that it does not perform the best that it can. And it's only a basic game, it's nothing fanciful, but golf with friends, seriously, if you hit that ball at max power on certain holes, Yeah, there's some definite lag there because the game cannot cope with what you've just asked it to do.
Yeah,
And that
it
is
suddenly
an
has to
engine
render
problem.
everything in front and
Yeah,
render all the physics, and it goes, ah,
yeah,
crap. All right.
yeah. So every time there's a technological showcase, it's like back when when everyone thought that Borderlands 3 was gonna be released soon and instead pre-sequel came out years later. They had their um announcement for their new technology, and it was all about these new grenades and everything. And they were just showing the physics that they were making with this new engine that they were using. And yeah, that looks all very well and good. And they were showing all these particle effects, but the particle effects were significantly diminished by the time Borderlands 3 actually came out.
It has to
So
be. It's just
yeah,
the way of the
and
road.
and again when they did their first announcement for ray tracing technology, it's like, yeah, that looks all very well and good, but again, it's not going to look anywhere near that good actually in game.
Yeah, it's all bullshit, and I just want everyone to know it's bullshit. Like so you know it's bullshit going in. If someone out there is going, "Oh my God, some Dragon Age 4 has been confirmed," you can just shut them down and go, "No, yes, they were working on it, but we've known about that for years. Yes, they showed a very few really early technical screenshots, which shows us nothing. And I'm certain those screenshots will be picked apart by armchair detectives the
Yeah,
world over
i
to
was
go,
i was going
oh,
to
well, this
say,
means this. This means
yeah,
this. It's a
that
bloody
red thing,
shot that could not look anything like that in the final game.
yeah, that red fiery bit, that'll be picked apart like, oh, so I reckon it's going to be this, and it just won't be. It won't be. You could, with all of the credibility that armchair detectives have, it might as well have been a monster from Monster Hunter.
Yeah, that will have about as much relevance to the final product. Um, the last thing they showed, which I'm starting to think
Excited
I'm in
all.
the wrong here. Do people really care about skate games? Because they announced that they're making. They didn't show any footage. I know everyone was really hyped. They're not showing any footage, and they literally announced that we're going to start making Skate 4. Do people
I,
really care about skate games? Is this a thing?
I don't know about the numbers, but I know it's a very vocal community. There's
Is it a tiny
for a
one?
long time, there's been quite a bit of noise on Twitter towards EA for a new skate game. But again, like I say, I I don't know the numbers. Not that I can imagine it to be that much, but they're very vocal about it. That's all there is to it. It's just they're very vocal.
It seems like everyone's trying to do a skate game now, though, and I don't understand it because like what? So EA's doing Skate 4, Tony Hawk Pro Skate is being remastered. Microsoft has their skate thing called Session, which has just gone into game preview, and there was another skate game that was revealed at PlayStation. What is with all these skate games? Seriously?
There's a gap in the
Like,
market.
wait, isn't it you played one, you played them all? Or at least that's how. Am I just being really ignorant about skate games? I don't know.
Okay, but then to argue that point with you, we could say that about pretty much any game. You've played one
Listen
Elder
here,
Scrolls,
Monster
you've
Hunter is
played them
loved the
all.
world over.
You've
And if
played one
anyone
Monster
doesn't love
Hunter, you've
Monster
played
Hunter,
them
they ain't
all.
played enough. Okay, that is almost it for us. But after this incredibly heated and angry and just rage-filled, sometimes serious podcast, I just want to remind everyone that there is that beacon of light, Belle Delphine. She's out there. She's making content. And of course, the much shittier lantern that kind of is half in the mud. Menzies is mildly interesting.
Oh, I go ahead, pick a number between 1 and 30. Can't be 23.
I'm gonna pick I'm gonna pick, you know, let's go the big 30 today. Let's go the big 30.
30. You want the big 30. All right then. The world's largest grand piano was built by a 15-year-old in New Zealand. The piano is a little over 18 feet long and has 85 keys, 3 short of the standard 88.
So he failed, is what I'm hearing. He didn't actually create the biggest grand piano because he didn't create a grand piano. It's got, you know what? Whatever. Okay, that is going to do it for us. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for spending this, what's probably going to be an hour and hour and 20 minutes, something thereabouts, of just listening to us rant about EA and how shit they are. And fuck you, EA. Seriously, fuck off. Fuck you. I hate you so much. Fuck off. Android Wilson, please remove your fleshy outer coating so we can tell that you are the true Android underneath. That's it for us. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share if you think someone else will like it. That's it. Bye bye.
Bye.